Alright everyone, Supreme Kami over here. So now it is time to do the alteration review for the Geara Doga Rezin Schnyder's version over here. So we do have roughly about 8 parts to be looking at. So 3 EX skill and then 3 parts with part 3 over here. So now let me kind of take a look to see if there's anything that's good. And after that, I will be doing some EX skill testing a bit, damage testing to be exact, just to see how they're looking at. So let's start things off on the head part over here. So obviously the stat wise is definitely not something to be like profound about. I think they're just pretty much kind of like mid. They're just not going to be anything too great. Word tag wise over here is just going to be very wonky already. So you get commander and close combat at the same time. So yeah, no, this one is not good. So what this one is the EXQ damage output boosted by 300. So this is going to be per hit. So if you are going to be using the shotgun as an EXQ over here, I don't know how many shot the panic maker actually do. If this is like a multiple hit, for example, I don't know, maybe like 8 rounds or something. I don't know. Just some kind of guess right here. Maybe then you can do like up to a 2400 PS per shot. You are going to be able to get that 300. So overall, in terms of hit part, just not good. Any flat damage output right there, just not gonna be that great anyway, except for the fact maybe you want to take on some specifically made mission like the Nietzsche challenge. I remember the first stage Destiny's these to kind of break through that incredibly high defense or whatsoever, then that's good. But other than that, in terms of any normal game content, that head trait is completely useless. So moving on to the torso over here, so same vortex. So I don't know why they're doing that. So this one is actually a fairly good option for any player out there that doesn't have like a good CD build. So this one with the Axe category, equip EXQ cooldown reduced by 15%, so that's actually great. Although it's not that premium 20%, but just for any new player right now that may want to get started, potentially this is actually pretty good. And then with the machine gun equipped, so that's going to be on your range weaponry, you get another EXQ power boosted by 35%, so that's actually quite good. But if you're talking about, let's say in arena specifically, you obviously cannot run either or, because it's either you're going to be, let's say, running Axle, that is actually a blade category, so you can't run that. And then you're going to be running Rolling Buster, that is a long rifle, so either or match the description over here. But this is definitely a fairly good free-to-play option that I think a lot of people should kind of take advantage of it if you guys don't already have a 100% cooldown build, or just specifically to your torso part. If you guys don't have any near 20%, this is definitely going to be something great to have at the moment. So this is a part that I would recommend despite the condition that we're looking at. Maybe not everyone has the luxury to run Axle or even the Rolling Buster, so this would be a great option as well. Alright, moving on to the armor over here, so let's see what do we have. So armor is over here, so you do have a fairly good awakening, or excuse me, a portrait awakening. First portrait was already good, so second portrait is not. So this is not a part that I would say go ham into for farming specifically, just because the second portrait is not really like all that great. This one is simply going to be a Puce boosting over here. Although the only good content that I see you will rely specifically on this portrait is definitely going to be the newest gorgeous challenge over there, where you are going to need some piercing over here. But other than that, in terms of any other content, it's just not really that relevant in a way. So if you guys do already have it maxed out prior to this event starting, you guys are pretty good. You guys are not haven't even got like a copy of, for example, just get that one copy. I don't think you will want to even farm this one. The stat for melee is just extremely low. I don't see a high potential of even using this arm for a prolonged time of period, so that's why this is not going to be a part that you would say, oh, I gotta go deep into farming it. So that's that. This one, we have a Brave Axe combo over here. So rush a wild charge or wild rush of blows with your equipped axe. So I don't know how this actually looks like. I don't even remember testing it out originally. So definitely gonna be doing some damage as comparison for you guys in a bit. So so there's pretty much not much to talk about that right there. So that is usually going to depend on how much of what kind of combo we're looking at and how much damage we can do prior and then before alteration. If they say prior and before, those are literally the same thing. So before and after, there you go. All right, moving on to the back part over here. So back part is actually something I might think is a fairly good contestant to actually kind of warm for. because what we usually looking at is the secondary portrait. So while you're running Xeon, so if you have Xeon active for example, you are getting an all enemy cooldown up by 23%. So this is a anti cooldown reduction type build you're looking at. So instead of having only 100%, your enemy now would need 123% in order to bypass, or let's say break over this kind of like a cooldown up right there. So this is actually quite a good free to play, let's say a disturbing EXQ portrait. So I mean, this one is actually quite good. If anyone does want to farm that one out, that would be a great addition as well. And moving on to the axe. So I think the axe is simply one of the more defensive kind of portrait we're looking at. So we are looking at a double, melee power reduced right there. So similar to what we have seen last week when we had some of the older warfare unit getting some alteration, specifically the glazed ends iron, for example. So I think that is they're literally the same thing, but in terms of the glazed irons, that one is a little bit more restricted, being stuck to speed attribute, so you can't really bring forward to moving into any other additional build. But this one is not bad. So this one does want you to be a running commander, which is not the worst case scenario, so that's pretty good. But in terms of the worst possible case is this one is landing on an axe category. So in terms of what kind of subslot you're looking at, it's just not going to be really that big of a roster. Just even a big scale axe is kind of limited in a way, if I recall. So kind of the unfortunate factor that we have here. But overall, this one is a fairly good tanking capability portrait to be looking at. So definitely would recommend alterating or farming up to portrait level 10 and then alterating it. Alright, so we got the panda maker over here. So A pierce and then B minus power. So I don't remember how this one actually looks like, so that's why we'll be doing the testing in a bit. So that's all I can say. Other than that, that's a pretty bad stat. Watch head wise is just weird, I guess. Alright, moving on to the shield right here. So we got a good old magazine type EXQ over here. So this one is just gonna be very good up to alteration, because I recall prior to alteration we were only looking at a D power. So back in the day, I actually formed up 10 or 3 copies of it. So 10, not 10 copies. 3 copies of this over here, just because this one is a very good item to be using specifically for battle ticket. But nowadays you can actually use a whole one specific port 10 times in a row, because of the EXQ is already 10. So that's why I don't even need a second copy, or I need 2 copies only, not 3. But that was like back in the day. So this one is good. So getting alteration definitely makes it for it. I'm now doing a B power, which is going to be fairly strong, I will have to say. So that's going to be it. Other than that, that is going to be pretty much it in terms of what I think are going to be good. Simply the torso is good, the axe is good, and then what is it? The backpack was good, was it? Yeah, the backpack was good. So those 3 are going to be, I will have to say, I would recommend get those portrait level 10, and then potentially altering it depending on what kind of resources you guys are looking at. But now let me hop into some kind of EXQ testing for you guys and see how they perform prior and after. Alright guys, with that being said, that is going to be the alteration review for the Geara Doga over here, as well as some EXQ damage testing for you guys. So obviously, right after the alteration, you guys can see that in terms of the shield, the machine guns, the panic maker, they were doing a lot of damage. So I was definitely pleased with that. And then in terms of the Braid Axe combo, I think it was fairly good as well. So you guys can see that in terms of the EXQ damage testing, I was not able to fully land the last combo, just because I was able to knock down my enemy right before that. So do let me know how do you guys feel about the alteration for the Geara Doga over here, or are there going to be any part that you will be targeting? So with that being said, that is going to be pretty much it, and then I'll catch you guys all on the next one.